Gus, how do you reflect on Saturday's game, and how do you want to see a response in this next game?
Very disappointed. Um, to concede at Sutton in the last kick of the game, and then not to go and kick on Saturday to go and get the 3 points is really disappointing. And it was there's a real disappointment in the dressing room where we knew we've let ourselves down massively, and we had a big opportunity really to kind of get ourselves in and amongst it, and we kind of went one step back on ourselves. So a lot's gone into this week to focus on Friday and obviously Monday's game, but making sure we react well and we get the fans on side early doors on Friday. Sorry.
And then looking ahead, you've got two games over the Easter weekend, a doubleheader as such. How important are these two games in the context of our season?
Yeah, massive. I think you pick up maximum points out of it. I think the table will look very positive for us. So it's going to be key that we take one game at a time. I know it's cliche, but we deal with Friday first, and then hopefully we can pick up 3 points Friday and then take on Ebbsfleet on Monday and do the job there as well.
And then looking ahead at Braintree themselves, what do you expect from them in terms of a challenge?
They've done really well. I think they've climatised to the league. I think they struggled early parts of the season, but now when you look at their form, they're well rights to be where they are, and they're a dangerous proposition. And they've got dangerous players that can hurt you at any time. So we need to make sure we kind of nullify that and be on our A game.
Nice one, thanks, Gus.
Gus, you said this day, obviously there was a lot of disappointment in the dressing room after the Solihull Wolves game. What aspect of that performance was it you're most disappointed in?
I think just a lack of cutting edge from us, really. I think we huffed and puffed. I think the effort was always there, but we just never really carved them open and created glaring opportunities. I think we had half chances. Don't get me wrong, we had chances and we had some good shots from the edge of the box and stuff like that, but we never really showed our real quality in the final third. And I think that's been a big aspect for this week leading up into Braintree's game is making sure when we get into the final third that the quality is there for strikers and stuff like that to feed off.
How do you go about doing that on the training pitch? Exactly, how does that work? Trying to make that happen.
Just repetition. I think it's key that we've worked on training around getting into the final third, now working the opportunity instead of forcing it. And I think sometimes on Saturday we were doing that, but also sometimes we were getting in the right area and the quality wasn't there. So it's every team tries and looks for that in their team, is trying to get that right balance. But for sure, last Saturday against Solihull, we didn't have that right balance. We were the quality wasn't there, or we wasn't getting in the right areas. So just having that fine balance and working it through the week.
The manager said after the game, he wanted you guys to sort of show the character that you've shown multiple times throughout the season. Keep showing that again. So is that sort of, how do you sort of work on that one as well going into it?
I think just leaders and leadership. I think the dressing room itself is very lively, in much as it's got a lot of characters in the dressing room that bring different things to the party. But making sure on a Saturday that we actually bring that character out of you, and that's sometimes an individual thing where you need to do that yourself when it comes 3 o'clock on a Friday this week. That bring that kind of characteristics that you bring to the team, you bring on the pitch because you get picked for a reason. So make sure you go and do that. So that's probably what we need to try and achieve this Friday.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly showed that leadership of it on Saturday where you towards the end where you subbed off, limping off the pitch pretty much. You pushed yourself. What pushes you so much to keep going like that?
Not just winning. I think that's all it is, and I think that's what's disappointing right now is that we've drawn and lost a game, which arguably we should have picked up at least 3 points out of the Saturday game and done better against Solihull that were struggling. But this just shows the league that we're in it. There's no giving. There's no just turn up. Any team can beat you on your day if you're not at it. So I think winning's the main drive out of anything. If it's not, you're in the wrong industry.
Well, like I say, Braintree, big prospect coming in, obviously very different. How much difference is there between that Braintree side you faced on New Year's Day and the one you're facing on Good Friday?
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I just think confidence. I think, like I said, I think they've acclimatised the league well now. I think they had obviously struggled early, or they were struggling early doors, and now they've picked up since that New Year's day we played, and just a bit more confidence. They probably have a bit more belief in their team that they can actually compete at this level. So we're going to have to make sure we give them respect, but also I know they'll be coming to Roots Hall fearing us as well.
Yeah, you say Roots Hall over 8,500 fans in there. How do you guys as players maximise that?
Getting them lively. I think that's down to us. That's why we kind of you get on the pitch. It's obviously as good as it's good that there's 8,500 there, but it's down to us to entertain them and making sure that they're want to be singing and want to be on their feet, screaming and shouting. You know, we played at Oldham, and it was the loudest crowd I think I've played at since I've been at Southend, and we want to replicate that atmosphere. But us as players need to take responsibility for that and give him something to cheer about.
Going into this one is about my maths fact, four games to go, isn't it? So 12 points available to you. Do you talk about sort of the way you are in that sort of playoff context, or is it just game at a time still?
No, just honestly a game at a time. And I know that's cliche, but I think that's since I've ever signed here, that's all we've ever dealt with anyway. And we've been on a massive roller coaster as a club, and obviously a few of us have been here since day dot when obviously the gaffer took over. So it's a game at a time, and I think the picture is where I know we can get caught up in the emotions, but the picture can change very quickly, and you never know. At the end of this weekend, we could have lots of smiles on our face or frowns on our face. So we need to make sure that we deal with Braintree first, and then we look ahead for the next game.
Absolutely. Just for yourself as well, I think you're 17 goals for the season, one short of Harry from last season as well. I suppose you're keen as ever to just get over that line. You've got that still as a target in your mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just want to score for the team, really. I think it's one of them that it's not kind of individual accolades. I just want to get in there and score goals and hopefully win games of football. And last few games I've not been able to do that. So on a personal note, that's on me. I need to get in there and make sure I can show my qualities and try and get on the score sheet. So yeah, I want to keep scoring as many as I can, but as long as the team wins, I'm happy. That's all that matters.